The sirens were still ringing in Daniel Carter's ears when his life split in two before the gunshot and after it. Before, he had been just another tired single dad trying to keep his job. After, he became the man who dove in front of a bullet for a woman who didn't even know she had fired him earlier that very morning. The night air cracked with danger and adrenaline, the metallic taste of fear thick in his throat, and he had mere seconds to decide whether to run or to act. And for reasons he couldn't explain then, he chose to protect the very person who had just turned his world upside down. Asterisk. Before the story continues, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Stories if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the good that still lives in people. Your support truly helps keep these stories alive. Asterisk. That morning, Daniel had woken up before dawn, quietly slipping out of bed so he wouldn't wake his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Her soft breathing was the only peaceful sound in their tiny two-bedroom apartment. Even in sleep, she clutched the stuffed yellow duck he'd won for her years ago at a carnival. The last time life felt easy. He brushed her hair from her face, whispering a promise he prayed he could keep. Daddy's not giving up, okay? Money was tight, tighter than ever, and his job as a security driver for Holt Industries had been the one thing helping him stay afloat. He'd taken the job immediately after the accident that took Lily's mother. Anything to anchor himself, anything to keep his daughter's world from shattering completely. Asterisk. The sun was barely up when he parked his vehicle outside the Holt Tower, adjusting his uniform in the rearview mirror. Daniel had always taken pride in doing his job well, but today everything felt slightly off. The guards at the entrance whispered among themselves, glancing at him with an expression he couldn't quite decipher. His stomach tightened with a sense of dread he tried to shake off, but it clung stubbornly like a shadow. Asterisk. When he walked through the glass doors, he was asked to head straight to HR. He didn't know that the CEO herself, Amelia Holt, had signed off on the layoffs the night before. She had never met him, never seen the father who waited in endless grocery store lines, calculating every penny, never seen the man who skipped meals so his daughter wouldn't have to. To her, his name on the list was just another number, a cost adjustment to balance a spreadsheet. Asterisk. The HR manager's words blurred into static. Budget cuts. Restructuring. Position no longer needed. He stared blankly as they took his badge, his uniform tag, and with it, the last bit of stability he had. He walked out of the building with his hands trembling, knowing he had to pick up Lily from school later and pretend everything was fine. He had become good at pretending. Asterisk. The day crawled on as he sat in his car, head buried in his hands. Hours passed. The sky slowly deepened into navy blue, and the streets emptied. He was about to start the engine when the sound of hurried footsteps caught his attention. A woman, well-dressed, elegant, unmistakably powerful, stepped out of the side. Entrance of Holt Tower. Amelia Holt. He recognized her immediately from the framed photos in the lobby. Her stride was confident but tense, like someone trying to outrun her own thoughts. Later, she would admit she was staying late because guilt gnawed at her. She had fired more people that day than she ever had before, and though she tried to hide behind corporate necessity, something inside her felt wrong, as if she had severed connections to real lives she didn't fully understand. Asterisk. Daniel wouldn't have noticed her at all, if not for the black van that screeched to a halt by the curb. 3 masked men jumped out, moving with the unmistakable precision of people who had done this before. They didn't care about the security cameras or the alarm system. They were after the CEO. And they were moving fast. Asterisk, he didn't think. He didn't have time to. Asterisk, his fingers brushed against the metal. Flashlight left in the side door of his car, the only thing he could use as a weapon. His body moved before his mind could object. A single dad who had just lost his job shouldn't have gotten involved. But something inside him refused to watch another innocent person get hurt. He'd lost too much already. Asterisk, Amelia froze, her eyes wide as one of the men grabbed her arm and shoved a gun against her ribs. Her breath hitched, panic surging through her. She didn't know who was watching, who might help, or if help would come at all. But Daniel was already sprinting. He swung the flashlight against the first attacker's wrist, causing the gun to clatter onto the pavement. The second man rushed him, but Daniel turned, blocking the blow with his forearm before delivering a punch that rattled through his knuckles. Adrenaline surged through him like electricity. He hadn't been in a fight since high school, but a parent's instinct stirred something primal inside him. Asterisk, the third attacker, pulled a gun, aiming directly at Amelia. Daniel didn't think twice. He threw himself between them, tackling the gunman to the ground. A shot rang out, echoing painfully against the walls of the building. The world blurred. Amelia screamed. Daniel felt heat graze his shoulder, but didn't stop. He wrestled the weapon away before slamming his fist into the attacker's jaw with everything he had left. Asterisk, the van screeched away as the men scattered. Asterisk, silence fell, heavy and trembling. Asterisk, Amelia's breath quivered as she stared at Daniel, who was slumped against the wall, clutching his bleeding arm. She rushed forward, kneeling beside him, her heartbeat thunderous. She had seen courage before on screens, in boardrooms, in stories, but nothing like this. Nothing like the man who would risk everything for someone he didn't even know. Asterisk, and she didn't know him, or so she thought. Paramedics arrived within minutes. Police swarmed the area. Amelia gave her statement, her gaze constantly drifting back to the man who saved her. She overheard one of the officers ask for his name. Asterisk, Daniel Carter. He said weakly, pressing a cloth against his wound. Asterisk, the name hit her like a stone dropped into still water. She had seen it that morning. On the layoff list, beside her own signature, guilt punched breath from her lungs. While he was being patched up, she stepped back, her mind spinning. Each decision she had made in her office felt suddenly heavy. She had signed away people's livelihoods with the stroke of a pen, people like Daniel. People who had children. People who protected others without hesitation. Asterisk, later that night. When everything quieted and the flashing lights dimmed, Amelia approached him. He was sitting on the back of the ambulance, wrapping his arm with the help of a medic. His face was pale from blood loss, but his eyes remained steady. Asterisk, she apologized, stumbling over her own words, admitting she never should have signed off on the layoffs without understanding the human cost. She offered him his job back immediately, with a raise, better hours, and full benefits. But for Daniel, the job wasn't the part that mattered most. What mattered was that someone saw him not as an employee ID number, not as an expense, but as a human being trying his best. Asterisk. Amelia insisted on driving him home herself. Asterisk, when they arrived at his apartment, Lily ran outside in her pajamas, panic in her eyes, until she saw her father stepping out of the car. She threw her arms around him. Amelia watched, her chest tight, realizing just how deeply he loved his daughter. Something stirred in her, a mixture of regret admiration, and something more fragile. Asterisk. Over the next days, Amelia couldn't shake the encounter. She visited him, checking on his recovery. She brought groceries, not out of pity, but respect. She invited him and Lily to her company's charity event. Gradually, a connection formed, one built on gratitude, resilience, and unexpected understanding. Asterisk. Daniel returned to work with newfound confidence. For the first time, Amelia asked for his input directly, valuing his experience and insights. She even reorganized the layoff strategy, ensuring no decisions were made without considering the human impact. It was the beginning of a new culture at Holt Industries, one built with compassion, not cold numbers. Asterisk. Months passed, and Daniel became a respected figure within the company, known for bravery and humility. Amelia often found herself seeking him out for advice, their conversations stretching beyond work. Something gentle grew between them, slow, hesitant, but undeniably real. They were two people carrying different wounds, finding healing in unexpected company. Asterisk. One evening, Amelia visited Daniel and Lily after work. They shared dinner, warm, simple, full of laughter. Lily told Amelia she looked like a princess. Daniel nearly choked on his food. Amelia blushed in a way she never did in boardrooms or press conferences. Asterisk. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Daniel walked her to her car. He thanked her for believing in him, for helping him stand again, for seeing him. She smiled, saying the truth was he had saved her long before that night. He had saved her from becoming someone she didn't want to be. Asterisk. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Kindness. Your support helps these real, human stories reach more people who need hope.